You guys, I can't believe it's December already. I can't believe we're here at the last TBR video of the year, but we will soldier on anyways. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem, and these are the books that I'm going to read in December of 2024. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the newly released psychological horror film, Dead Whisper. So, let's dive right into these books because I have quite a few. And this month is kind of different because I don't know if you all are mood-based readers or if you are, kind of very into planning out your TBR to the day. And I kind of fall somewhere in between. Let me know in the comments kind of how you like to read your books, because I love to create a dialogue about this kind of stuff always. I love to hear about like how you like to read books, and sometimes I get great ideas from you, and hopefully I can give you some great ideas on keeping this fun. I think that's the most fun, that's the best part of this Booktube community, is you could find ways to tackle intimidating books, you could find ways to escape into easier to read books, and you can have fun while doing it all the while. So if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe, and let's dive right into the books. So this month is kind of special because I, as many of you Brandon Sanderson fans, have been waiting for the fifth and final Stormlight Archive book in this particular arc, and presumably maybe the finishing part of the story for these particular characters, Wind and Truth. And so this comes out on December 6th. I'm going to be a day one reader. I'm going to be, the minute I get that package on my doorstep, that's it. I'm going to stop all the presses and just get to reading it. So I want to read that on December 6th. So what am I going to read in the meantime? I am going to read the third and final entry of the wonderful Philip Chase, Booktube's own Philip Chase, Dr. Fantasy himself, his series, the Edan trilogy. Now, I've read the first two books, The Way of Edan and The Prophet of Edan, kind of in consecutive months. I read The Way of Edan, I think, in October, The Prophet of Edan in November, and I'm so excited to read this book in December, Return to Edan. So I absolutely love the series. I feel like it's very rare that you could introduce such a kind of a rich world, a soft magic system, a lot of different characters and stuff. And, oftentimes, like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I know for me, when I'm reading larger scale fantasy works, like, I have to kind of go, oh, who is that again? Because some of these names sound familiar or they sound similar, and it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But with the Edan trilogy, I didn't feel that way, which is kind of amazing. So I immediately took to the characters, and it's very rare for a fantasy series to make me feel that way immediately. So I'm so excited for the Return to Edan. I'm going to read that on December 1st, and I'm going to probably try to finish it up by December 6th in time for Wind and Truth. Now, I don't want to rush it because I love Return to Edan. So if I have to read it a little slower and read some of it after Wind and Truth comes out, that's fine too. But that's kind of my perspective plan. So what am I going to read after those two behemoths of books? I'm going to read this particular author that was recommended to me as one of John from Disquiet and Dragons. He's a wonderful channel. I'm just pulling it up here so I could read the description for you. But one of his favorite authors is James Herbert. And I have not read any James Herbert. And so he said he's going to be reading on his Discord channel, which I'm linking also below, as well as his channel, because they're both wonderful. And the community he's created there, but he's going to be reading these books in publication order. So I'm like, I'll jump on one of them, with you. And the first book is called The Rats. And so I've been interested in kind of reading more, horror stuff that is not Stephen King, because I love my guy Stephen King, as you can tell from the shelf back here, but I want to read other stuff too. So I'm going to read the description here so you can kind of get an idea. And of course, in all my videos, I always link these in the description. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I always get a small percentage. So if you want to support the channel, that's one way to do so. So here is the description. Out of the sewers and streets comes the biggest threat London has ever faced. Rats, hungry for human flesh. It was only when the bones of the first devoured victims were discovered that the true nature and power of these swarming black creatures with their razor-sharp teeth and the taste for human blood began to be realized by a panic-stricken city. For millions of years, man and rats had been natural enemies, but now, for the first time, suddenly, shockingly, horribly, the balance of power had shifted. That sounds horrifying, and I'm very excited to read it. That's what horror does to you, right? Like you're both terrified and also excited at the same time. So that is going to be the next book I'm going to be reading. I'm so excited to be doing a buddy read with my dear friend John from Disquiet and Dragons. Definitely check out his channel if you haven't. Really wonderful, wonderful guy, wonderful channel, and just he really is passionate about the things he reads, and it comes through in his videos and just his interactions on both Booktube and his Discord channel. So now there's another book that is by a self-published author named Sean Bobby Kerr, who was very kind enough to send me his digital copy of his book, A Journey Thrice Begun. Now, this is his debut novel, so I wanted to go ahead and give it some support. And so I'm also linking that down below, and I'm going to be reading that in December. I'm really excited to check it out and see more about this. I read this description in a previous video, but I'm going to read it here as well for you so you have it. So it says, Everett Dwyer usually looked forward to sharing night. It's the only night of the year marriage proposals can be made in Delwood, and the proposals take place on a grand, open-air stage for all of town to watch. Today, however, Everett felt nauseous just thinking about it. For a few short hours, he must get up on that stage and propose to Isolde Fairweather. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Everett, a mysterious blind family staggers towards Delwood, seeking refuge, yet bringing with them a darkness spreading rapidly through the world of Jira. A magical adventure is about to begin. And a magical adventure indeed. I'm excited to check this out. It seems to have kind of a whimsical fantasy meets the darkness, and I love those types of contrasts. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. So I'm going to be reading this book as well. I have quite a few chonkers, as you could tell from this list, and I wanted to slot in something that was smaller. Now, interestingly enough, I was talking to author Janny Wirtz. She had mentioned that there is a prequel novella to the Wars of Light and Shadow series, which we're going to be doing a soft read-along in 2025, starting with the first book, The Curse of the Mistwraith, in January. So if you want to join that, I have a Discord channel as well, 32 members strong right now, constantly chatting about books in a very positive, loving community. We have people who are just getting into reading in their adulthood. We have people who are veterans who read like 10 books a month. Janny Wirtz had mentioned, hey, there's this prequel novella called The Gallant, or Gallant, that is about 100 pages or so, and it's a prequel for her Wars of Light and Shadow series. And I said, I would love to dive into a little bit of Wars of Light and Shadow, because honestly, it's like when you plan something a couple months in advance, the one advantage is you get to kind of actually plan it out. The downside to that is you have to wait a couple months, and I'm like, I don't want to wait that long, and so this might be a perfect way to kind of dip our toes into that world before January begins. No pressure or obligation. You don't need it for the series, but it's a good way to get used to Janny's wonderful prose and kind of style of writing and into the world. So I spoke to a couple people on our Discord channel, and they are going to join us on the Gallant as part of the soft read along. So anyone who is interested in Wars of Light and Shadow, wants to dip their toes, please join us. Like, we'd love to have you. The more the merrier, and you can join in the Discord there below. So that is going to be the next book that I'm going to be reading. Now, these next two are kind of in the maybe category, and one of them I have to talk to John from Disquiet and Dragons, because we've been doing a Bloodsworn Saga read-along together, buddy read. We read The Shadow of the Gods in October. We read The Hunger of the Gods in November. And we were planning on reading The Fury of the Gods in December, I believe, but I need to double check with him and see if he's still feeling it, because I know we were both feeling a little iffy on the Shadow of the Gods. I absolutely loved The Hunger of the Gods. I finished it like a couple days ago. I thought this was like a return to form for me as far as John Quinn's writing. So I'm excited to see The Fury of the Gods, but I'm also down to wait. As you could tell, I have my work cut out for me reading-wise this coming month. So I'm going to check in with John and see. So this is in the maybe category right now, but either way, we'll probably do it December, January, something like that. So let's see how that all shakes out. And then the last category, and I'm calling it category because this is in the maybe pile, but I'm trying to decide between two. One is a Stephen King book, because I've been trying to read Stephen King one a month so that I could complete his whole catalog. That's my goal. And then after I finish it, I'll probably start rereading everything in publication order. But I was thinking about reading Black House, which is the sequel to The Talisman. And now with Stephen King making an announcement that he might be working on something Talisman / Dark Tower adjacent right now, it'd be kind of nice to read that second entry. So that was the first kind of thing I was thinking about. But as you could tell from my list, I have so much fantasy on this list already. I wonder if it would be better to do something completely different. As you know, I have really fallen in love with historical fiction genre this year. And I would love to finish off the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett. Now, this is another doorstopper, another 1,000-page book. So obviously, I can't get to, even if I decide this one, I can't get to this all this month. I might even separate it over 3 months and just kind of take my time with it and make this a longer form project for me. And that is The Edge of Eternity, which rounds out the trilogy for the Century Trilogy. And this basically, if you don't know, the Century Trilogy charts 5 families as they make their way through 100 years of world history, kind of across multiple generations. And this particular final entry takes place between the 1950s Cold War era till almost the present. And so I would love to see where the descendants of these original characters end up. So I'm very excited about that. I'm trying to decide between the two. And as you can tell, my list is kind of insanely long. But, sometimes it's just worth being overly ambitious because, there's some fun and joy that comes from that too. I say this because, in the Booktube community, we also have metrics that people like to try to go, oh, I read this many books or I read that many books, And the most important thing is to keep it fun. That is why we do this, right? So I don't want to let the ambition to read as many books as possible get in the way of having fun, ever. I would rather slow this down. I would rather read half this list and enjoy it more. That's kind of my whole take. It just so happens when I love a book, I just kind of start going through it, really fast. So I don't know. How do you all prefer to read books? Do you like the contrast of reading a ton of different books? Do you like to take your time with them? How do you like to read them? Like, I'd love to know kind of your tips and tricks for, how you get to read and keep the joy always. So with that, please like and subscribe. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. Let me know what you think of this list as well in the comments. And if you have a TBR list, please feel free to drop it in the comments as well, because I think creating that dialogue, it helps other people who are seeing your comment and they get inspired to maybe pick up one from the list. So with that, please be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. Enjoy this final month of 2024 as we all dive into some great books together. Take care.